All right. Ooh, it's a load. There it is. It's probably the first and the last time I'll have to push it or pull it when it's not under its own power. So really cool. Let's see how that works and how it looks. It didn't start on the first pull. Out of gas. Not out of gas. But we did not start on the first pull. Ooh. Out here. All right, open it up. It's got some plastic and a little flap of a cardboard box. I'm already seeing the side chute, so it's got a side discharge. Comes with it. This is really, it's not really flexible, like it's not lightweight flexible. I can see that it has some thickness to it, and that's good. That kind of scares me, but maybe it has a purpose. I don't know. I just think about grass clippings shooting out of there. Now it is tapered off, so maybe they'll just fall off, and that kind of is a deflector. Maybe it's some kind of deflector thought, like if you run over something you don't want to run over, you've got maybe a way to stop it or deflect it down. I don't know, but you can see right there it's kind of got a taper to it, so it's not meant to clog. And it seems like if things keep hitting here, it'll just kind of taper down and fall off. So maybe that's the idea, so not to shoot the clippings out too far, but to kind of direct them down and out, but down. So that's my thought. So yeah, okay, so that's the side discharge chute. The bag, ooh, I like that. This handle, I was liking the handle, how substantial that is. I don't really know. My hands are pretty large, and so I'm able to grip and almost have some wraparound on the handle. So I can imagine pulling this up. As a comparison, I hate to compare, but my Toro, I hate to bring up old things, but to compare in handles, this is the Toro recycler bag, and it has this kind of handle, which this is actually really easy if you're behind the mower and you need to disengage or take your bag off and dump it. This is kind of a nice thing because you literally just grab it and pull it back, and it just breaks away from the mower really nicely. I do appreciate the fact that Echo, they don't have that little D-ring design, but this has grooves in it. It's really groovy, so if your hands are like sweaty and you're working, you have less likelihood to slip pulling on this handle, and it's really substantial. So like I said, it's really sturdy. If you can see, I'm holding that and pulling on that. It's really sturdy and well built. It looks like they have it welded. Yeah, they have it welded to the rest of the bag frame, so it's not loose. It's not gonna get loose on you. I'm always looking for interchangeability, and I wonder if this bag frame would interchange with anything else. And I'm only wondering, but I see this though. This right here makes me feel like that rear discharge chute has some depth to it, and the mower is way more tapered than a Toro. I don't know, let's compare. All right, so here we have the Toro recycler and its rear chute, and I'm just gonna take the Echo bag. I just want to see, I'm just doing an experiment as I'm showing this to you all. I want to know if these, because it's got these side hooks on it, if you can see there, and I wonder if this would fit on there. It doesn't look like it would. Oh, it's way more narrow. Wow, this bag is way more narrow than the Echo bag, if you can see that. Neither one of those hooks even makes it to that setup, so you would not be able to change bags. Not that you would want to, but I was just curious because they're very similar in design. So yeet. Okay, so back to the what's at hand here. All right, so we learned that this mower, of course, it's a 21 inch, so I should have known that, and that's a 22 inch mower, so that's probably the difference. It's not that it's super more narrow, it's just 1 inch more narrow, which is just enough. We'll yeet that bag over there too. Sorry, Toro. Okay, so it comes, I wouldn't say it's well wrapped, it just has plenty of bubble wrap in there. Nothing was really like just ultra wrapped, as you can see. It's just like plastic stuck in here and draped across, etc., etc. Owner's manual. Love a good unboxing with the owner's manual. Looks like 38 pages of English owner's manual, and then we just start dividing up into the other languages, which is cool. Also has a QR code if you want to look at illustrative material, it says. So that's cool. Like if you are a visual learner, you can get illustrations here by scanning this QR code here. So that's really cool. Page 18, set the cutting height. Let's go to 18. All right. Okay. 18, set the cutting height. The height of the blade can be adjusted to 7 height positions, and it's going to be from 1 inch all the way up to 4 inches, which is really nice if you have an overgrown lawn like mine is almost. Then you can, of course, cut high and then bring it down lower. 1 1/4 inch, I think that's really great. I don't think I've ever cut a lawn to 1 1/4 inch. I've cut it to 2 inch, and it really gets super clean around the 2 inch mark, depending on the grass type. And I've cut some grasses that at 2 inches it looked really sharp, and this depends on the grass health as to whether or not it looks healthy or if it looks patchy. But to know that this goes down to 1 1/4 inch is pretty interesting, and I guess when you have an engine as powerful as this one, that probably doesn't seem like a big feat, but probably is only going to be efficient if you've already cut the top layers off first before you just try to go right to 1 1/4 inch or even 2 inches. But okay, I digress. To change the cutting height, pull the height adjustment lever toward the wheel. So let's get this out of the box and we can look at that. By the way, before I go any further, I saw some instructions that said install the handle, and it looks like this is kind of an easy stow setup, and so the handle's already installed, already attached. So I'm just going to literally pull this out of the box, and then we can look at the height adjustment. This mower is kind of heavy. I didn't see how much it weighs, but it feels like it weighs all of about 80 or 90 pounds. So I'm gonna go ahead and break the box away and go from there. Sorry, box. Such a beautiful job on the box, by the way. Maybe just because I'm excited about having another piece of Echo equipment. There's a lot to be proud of in the Echo products, and so to own an Echo mower, I say finally, these really just seem like they just kind of came out, and so to own one is really nice. So says here it has 8.75 foot-pounds of torque at 2600 RPM. So that's nice, and I'm just going to go ahead and take this down. All right. Yeah, it feels all of about 80 pounds. All right, it really looks like the Lamborghini of lawnmowers. It's really low profile, even the Corvettes of lawnmowers. Look at that paint job, colors, the profile, how low it sits to the ground. It's probably at the lowest setting right now. That is like scraping the ground. So beautiful. All right, let's get the handle up. To adjust the handle, you push these in here and here. Really easy. These are really, this is how easy that is. Does not take a lot of force. And then once you get it into a position, they both lock into place. So you're already kind of preset up there. Really nice. Wow. Got some of the remnants of the box here. Get that out of there. Wow. Look at that. So beautiful. So professional looking. It's got the steel deck. Really nice. Got the washout port. I've always wanted one of these and now I do. So this is just added plus. The wheels are they're plastic in here or polymer, really hard, fine, not fine, a really solid polymer on the inside. And then this is like a rubber, an actual rubber overlay of the polymer. It's not a molded plastic. So I think these are going to be really nice and sturdy. They're, I would say, semi-pliable. As you can see, they do have some play and give in them. I'm not sure what that lends to the design, but it sure does look very race car-ish. Which, hey, I like that. I'm glad this plastic or styrofoam isn't serving a design purpose, because I just literally ripped it like a maniac. All right, nice. I'm gonna throw this over here. Wow. Of course that doesn't do anything. I'm just admiring it. This handle, wow. I've never had a mower with a handle on the front like that. So instead of sticking your hands under the deck to pick it up, to raise it up, you literally grab a suitcase style handle and you're able to pick that mower up. Now what I want to do, just as a test, I want to fold these beautiful little fingers back in. Look at that, that's cool. When you pull it out, it stays out. It's almost like it knows that you're getting ready to perform some kind of action. See how these are in all the way? They clicked into place and they're in. You push that, oh wow, it falls to the next position. Okay, so what you have to do is still have to do them both at the same time, but if you do one, it's just beautiful. It knows to stay out. I don't know, that's weird. Maybe it's the tension of the top bar that's keeping it out. They both look out, so I'm gonna try to go forward. No, they both locked into place. Okay, so that part, it didn't go as easy as I thought it would go. They're gonna go down and they're latched. Okay, so what I want to do, I was saying how that's like a suitcase style handle. See what they tried to do with that, because I've never seen a mower that had, again, a suitcase style handle like that. Now of course you got to be like a bodybuilder to want to pick that up and walk around with it as I am. But I think if nothing else, just if you need to two-man this onto a truck, the front is secure, so there's not going to be, there's enough room for me to put two of my big hands in there, or even, especially underhanding. There's more room underhanding it than it is over for some reason. I don't know what the heck. Maybe it's my thumbs are out of the way. See how my thumbs are able to rest out here? So my fingers are able to get in there really good. So if you need a two-man lift on this, because it's really a substantial mower, then your front man, not got to worry about him cutting his fingers on the edges of the deck, stamping. You can overhand it, underhand it, you can one-hand it, or you can just pull it even at this point. You can back wheel pull it, kind of steer it. Now this has a low clearance, so in steering it like this, I don't know why you would need to or want to, but it's not exactly easy, so wouldn't recommend that. Also, the locks on the top bar handle are really substantial, so I don't feel like that's going to come loose. So if I need to pull it or do it this way, it gives me a little more leverage because I'm up higher, so I can drop it down a little lower, drop myself down a little lower, and pick that up. So that's really nice. So let's get to the height adjustment. I know I've talked a lot about other things already. Okay, so I'm gonna pull those out, and oh no, you gotta start. Okay, I thought more about the handle clamps. Look at that, beautiful. First position and locked. More paper. Yeet. Okay. Height adjustment. So you got one bar and you got 7 positions. And it literally said one. And I'm guessing this is, I think it was a 1/4 inch. That's more than a 1/4 inch. It's probably a half, but I don't know when the adjustment stops. But this is 1. That whole step right there is 2. Every slot is one of the 7 positions. 1 to 7, 1 all the way back to 7. So to raise this up, you want to pull it out just like you would do the gear on a standard shift vehicle. And look at that, the whole mower is just raising and adjusting. Even the front wheels are adjusting. Gets to 7, one hand is kind of like has some tension on it because you're raising up the full weight of the mower with just this handle. Probably best done if you're behind the mower, but easy done here as well. 7, all the way down, all the way up. I like that. 7. Look at the ground clearance at 7. It doesn't look level from right here. It still looks a little tapered, but that may be, looking at the top profile, it may be, but that is just beautiful. I'm really impressed and pleased. And like I said, this is my first time having a mower where I could be out on the job and need to adjust my wheels and not have to go around on the Toro to compare. Again, hate to be doing so many comparisons. You got to adjust each wheel. So whatever it is, 1.25 inch. I think the further up you go on these, the lower it gets. And Toro didn't do us any favors with these because these tabs are like really flimsy. So it's really hard. See how hard it is for me to make that adjustment? I mean, it goes, but it's really not easy to make that adjustment. So that 1 bar adjustment is really thoughtful on their behalf. This is the Vortex technology one. Again, there's nothing, I don't hate this mower. It's just, obviously there's like new little whip gadgets that just make you want better for yourself. And that's it. That. And obviously over here, that bagging setup is going to be a little bit more manual. And it seems like once you choose, you just saw how I did that on the Toro, where it's like the little door flipper lever mechanism. It seems like on here, I'm kind of getting the hint that once you decide to go bag, yeah, you have to, once you go bag, you're basically going to pull this plug out. Yeah, so once you go bag, you're pulling the plug out and then you're going bag. Even if you put this door down, you're going to have some grass that's going to get ejected through here, and it's probably going to start relieving out of this back, so you have grass dripping down here. So it's kind of like with the Toro. Well, one knock I will say about this mower that I can already tell is that you're not allowed by design to be fluid with your operation. So if you're cutting and you're mulching and you say, okay, let's switch from mulching. I don't want to mulch anymore. I want to pick up all of my grass clippings. Or let's say you have leaves mixed into your clippings and you don't want leaves mulched into the ground, and you don't want the look of leaves in the grass, and so you want to go to a bagging operation instead. Then you literally have to detach. You have to detach this. So let's say this is your setup. Let's say you're mulching, so you don't have bag on, and you don't have the side ejection port up. So it means you're gonna mulch everything that the blade picks up back into the soil, to the grass. All right, this is your setup. Let's say you say, okay, no, I want to make sure all the leaves are picked up. You don't like the look of leaves in your lawn afterwards, and you don't trust that the blade is going to just mince up every single leaf to where it can't be visible. All right, so then you can't be as fluid as you like to be, which you can't just switch a lever and then the whole mower goes into a different mode. You have to. Only thing I don't like about this is that you're gonna have to manually take this off, because if you're mulching, you're fine like this. If you're side ejecting, but then you don't want to have to come back and pick up the clippings, which is what you usually have to do when you're side ejecting, unless you're just a nasty mower like that and you just leave the side ejection clippings in the lawn. And to each his own, that's your thing if that's your thing. But I like the look of a well polished, clean cut yard, so I'm never going to, even in my own yard, eject clippings and leave a line of clippings from where I start to where I finish. So honestly, the side ejection chute I probably am gonna hardly ever use, which is why I love the Toro so much, is because there is no side ejection chute on that mower. So that raggedy option is not even there on that, as you can see. I love that. It's like I didn't need it because I don't like the way it looks, and I don't want to leave anybody's lawn in that condition with just things laying around that I have to go and collect later. So I use my push mowers like a vacuum. So if I'm not mulching, if I'm not in a position where the lawn is manageable and I can just mulch everything back into it, then I want to be able to pick up what I'm cutting, even if it means hauling away clippings, because that's going to leave an overall better finished look. So again, my only knock with this mower, without even having turned it on yet, is knowing that I'm going to have to pre-plan, and you should anyway, what mode of operation you're going to put this mower in when you're on it, and be prepared to make sure you have brought your side ejection port, your bag and discharge plug, and then the bag. So if you want a bag, then of course you have to set it up that way, pull the plug and drop the side ejection chute so that all the clippings are directed into the bag, and then vice versa. So anyway, if you know that, you know that. So that's my only knock against the mower. Love the way it looks. I kind of knew that going into buying it, so it's not like, oh man, bummer, I'm now hit with this. It's just knowing that I'm just going to have to be way more diligent with packing, putting this mower on the trailer. I have to make sure I have everything I need for whatever situation I may encounter at a customer's yard. And it may be that you pre-plan, all you're doing is you're going and just going to mulch everything back into the ground, but they may have either trees in their yard or surrounding trees, and a storm has come through and blown leaves everywhere, and now you're in a situation where you don't want to take a chance of mulching the leaves into the lawn and then have a kind of a unfinished look about the lawn. So that could be a situation. So just make sure that you pack well if you buy this mower. Okay, something else I love about this mower already is the air filtration on it, on the carburetor. So that's kind of neat. It's like gas this way. Is this filter? I like how it's like latex. I wasn't showing it to you. Latex rubber here on a plastic surface, so you're gonna get some pretty good adhesion already right there. I can feel the tackiness of this filter. So you're probably gonna have all the air being drawn into here and probably very little drawn into this bottom edge, which is basically like the dirt and dust bypassing the carburetor filter and getting directly into the carburetor. Those chances are slim. The other thing I noticed on here, which you'll love, is this face right here into the intake of the carburetor is raised. So even if you're getting dust across the bottom, like in between these two pieces of material, it's not like it's going directly into the intake still. Then it's got to get around this little latex tacky against this raised surface. So I love this design. Seems like it's one of the best that I've seen so far. And then you got two layers of now I'm not a big fan of how this looks. You can see how kind of trashy that foam cover looks just right out of the box. Not a big fan of that. And again, this is my first time touching this, so this came from the factory like this. Now granted, it's still going into a filter, but I want all the protection I can get when it comes to dirt and dust entering into an engine that I'm relying upon. But again, I love this design. Briggs & Stratton did a great job, fantastic job with this design, I think. I have not tested it yet, but I like the theory of it. The theory behind it so far is great, including the raised face underneath so that dirt just doesn't get pulled directly in and into the carburetor. Beautiful. All right, so here we're back looking at the Echo LM2119 SP 190cc Briggs & Stratton engine, and this mower takes SA 10W30 motor oil. It is for 4-cycle engine, so this would be a 4-cycle engine, and it says add oil before running the engine, which is always a great idea. And that's it. All right, something about Briggs & Stratton engines I didn't know, and I've been failing at it for years apparently. If you look right down here where it says maintenance schedule, first 5 hours, let's scroll over here to that first section of the first 5 hours, and what does it say? Change the engine oil. Wow. I have been not doing that correctly for 20 plus years. All right, on the LM2119 SP. Also, I really wish this thing had a better name. Like maybe next year it'll have a better name that we can like put right there. It just seems very military-ish and weird that we have to refer to this as the LM2119 SP, whereas you got the Toro recycler. Anyway, maybe they're working on it and just couldn't come up with one, but the LM lawnmower 2119 SP just seems very uncommitted in a way. So anyway, hopefully things get better, and hopefully this is a great model. Again, we're gonna run it in just a second. I'll tell you something else I just thought of, and I really wish that these came equipped with, is an actual level indicator, because it always says, check engine oil with the engine level. Well, it's like you can eyeball it level, but what if it's not level? Like, I'm sure that has never mattered, because you can always probably go over. The engine can probably tolerate more or less of the oil that you may put in it or not have put in it. But just saying, like, I guess I'm just like, if you're gonna state it, then help people out with it. So just a little cheap bubble level, just right there somewhere, so you can see that the engine is level as you're checking the oil. Anyway, just a little small blah 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 griping complaint. That's it. All right, so we've checked the oil and there is nothing in the engine as we expected. One thing I also dislike, and again, this isn't a video about what I like and dislike about most things, but I'm just simply stating, sometimes you can get these phantom readings on the dip tube because the sides have like some oil in it from the factory when they tested it, and you pull it out and you can't really, I guess you don't get solid marking all the way across, but it's kind of like phantom striping on where the remnants of oil is on the stick. So anyway, I just wish there was a way to get a solid reading on the oil, just so you know. But anyway, again, this is not How Do You Please Chat with a lawnmower. This is just me making conversation. All right, so let's go ahead, and I really need to get a handy dandy. Just realized y'all can't see what I'm doing. Okay, it comes with a foil seal on it, which is great. Don't have to worry about paper unless there's plastic underneath here, which probably is. Yep. Okay, I guess we'll leave it like that. Motor oil looks very light colored, as most motor oil does nowadays. All right. What do I want to do? Oh, I need to get a funnel to add oil to the engine, and then we'll be ready to. I have confirmed that my funnel is clean and my oil, oh wow, blended in. My oil is in the shadow. Okay, and here we go. All right, I don't think the few drips that are left in there are going to save the engine. We are now going to remove our funnel. And as if our mower was level, we're going to check it. That really looks like not enough oil. What the world? Did they like give me a teaser amount of oil? Maybe my mower is leaning in one direction. And that's what I was worried about with the jug or the oil container not having any numbered markings on it except for 500 milliliters. Let's see what we got now. Oh, still below the mark there. So it turns out that if I was holding that jug correctly, Let me get down here and get it. So I was holding this jug correctly. It showed me that the fluid level, it seemed to be right at the 500. I guess this is milliliter mark. That says this is 18 fluid ounces. I'm going to assume that my mower is not on level ground then, because this says this is 18 fluid ounces. There's nothing else left in here. I searched Google, asked Gemini, how many ounces is 500 milliliters, which is where I saw this at, and it told me that it was 16.9 ounces, which is only shy, like 0.1 ounce less than 17, which is 1 ounce less than the minimal for this engine size. So either this was wrong from the factory. I don't know that it was. I'm just trying to make sense out of it and not burn up an engine. I don't think that 1 ounce of engine oil missing out of this engine would cause it to burn up or not perform the way that it should, but I don't know either. So I'm gonna move the mower on what I may think is more level ground, and then try to measure the oil again. I think over there looks kind of level, so we'll go there and we'll measure it again and see if we can get a reading that's up and between the two arrows, not at the bottom arrow, which is what I witnessed. All right, I think this is a little more level than I was before. I'm not exactly sure. We're just gonna try it from here, and then we're gonna give up basically for now. So I'll go get my paper towel and we will measure the oil again. Okay, that seems, nope, that's still not. It's at the bottom mark, but it's not in the cross hatches. See how there we go. We're gonna measure this again. Okay, here it comes again. All right, that's better. Now I can see that is clearly in the cross hatches. So turns out the mower was just not on level ground, and it looked like it was very short on oil from the bottle from the factory. I wiped it off so you can't see it there, but I'm just really just looking at that just out of sheer happiness. So got the oil installed, gonna put gas in it, and then we're gonna cut this lawn. This kind of patchy and overgrown for lack of small mower. And we're back. We're gonna start moving things out of our way here so we can cut this grass. We're not gonna cut into that. That's gonna get string trimmed down, because part of what's in there is like an old cantaloupe patch, and it's grown up because I was trying not to disturb the cantaloupes, but they all ended up perishing with rain and moisture. So that's going to get trimmed down, and I might run over and bag that after I trim it down, and that'll be a test to see about how efficient the pickup is on the mower with the 190cc engine. I know if it picks up most of that, it'll be doing a lot better job than my Toro 150cc mower was doing. So anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and put fuel in it, and we're going to get her on the go. Also, I want to come up with a name for my mower. Oh, I'm looking at the ground as the fuel goes in. It's crazy. Okay, we're just using regular 87 fuel. Try not to spill any on it because I don't want to have fuel on here. I know eventually I will, but right out of the box, who wants to just baptize their mower in fuel? All right, and we're gonna look in there, and we can probably see that we're at a good level. We're not at the overfill point, which I think it just runs into the carburetor bay if it does. I'm almost thinking Ellie for a name, but tell me what you think in the comments below. Ellie the Echo. Put this right here just in the shade. I'm gonna give it another vent by unscrewing the cap and start moving stuff out of the way. I'll be right back. I'm gonna move a lot of my wife's gardening stuff out of the way, including that tent, and we're just gonna give it a run here and try to get this looking really nice. I think I'm gonna cut this to 2 inches from where it is, 2 inches. That'll give it a nice, clean, sharp look on the end. Then we'll go through and string trim behind the shed. We won't disturb the wildflowers. We'll string trim that, and then we'll also do a bagging demonstration after we string trim that. Shout out to you, Gorilla. One more pickup. All right, we're gonna start this off in mulching mode. We've got, well, almost mulching mode. We got the side discharge port closed. We have the rear discharge closed. The problem is we don't have the rear discharge plug installed. And so what we want to do is to actually install that plug so that we don't have grass leaking out of the back and messing up our cut lanes. So let's do that. All right, here we go. We got the rear discharge plug, and it goes in. Let's see how it goes in. So we can get back here. All right, raise that up. I think that it goes in like this. Maybe like this. There we go. Okay, it goes in handle up and curved, long curve goes all the way in, and you'll see these two not traps, they're kind of like lips. The lips go against the back of the mower like so, and that's how you know you have it installed properly to deflect the grass down and in. So you're in full mulch mode now. So all the grass clippings will be directed down and out on the deck. If you were in discharge mode, you simply open this flap. Ouch. Open the flap. It's spring loaded, so be careful. And you would install your side discharge port, which we're going to use on this tall stuff. What we're going to do, we're going to cut a sample out of it, and we're going to see how well it discharges on side discharge. Because earlier we called, we didn't call into question, but we just raised awareness to the fact that this is the first side discharge chute I've seen with these tapered little fins right here. And this is on the outside, so it's discharging beyond that. And my thought was that it's to direct the clippings downward into the lawn versus just shooting out and kind of going wild and way out. In case maybe you had something that was hard, maybe this would stop it. I don't know what it's for. It hasn't been explained, or maybe it has been explained and I just don't have a reference to it. If I find a reference to it, I'll put it in the link in the description of this video. But if not, we're just going to test and see what it does for ourselves. So for now, we're going to go ahead and fire it up for the first time, and we're going to cut a path right around here, and we're just going to get the cutting, and then we'll do our test on this after we've cut the entire lawn. So we're going to go down to 2 inches. So let's go ahead and set our adjustment. We're on 7 right now. I think you can see that here. We're on the 7th position. We're going to go down to 2. So 2 inches. Really easy. That's how fast the adjustment is. It does all 4 sides at one time with just the one pull of the lever. And that's how easy it is to adjust the LM2119 SP by Echo. So I'm gonna come up and we're gonna go ahead and get it started. On the speed adjustments, you can see here, if you push the harder you push it down, the faster the mower is gonna propel forward. And as you come up and release this lever back to full stop, it's on turtle, so it's gonna be slower the less you push down on it. And of course you have a solid bar back here if you just want to if you want to be the propellant. So if you want to just push without the assistance of the transmission, then just don't hold this and go here, but you will have to find a way to secure that if you just want a solid push here, and not be pulled along at any speed. So let's go ahead and get her crunk. Apparently it's supposed to take 1 pull And I'm gonna go ahead and get this set up. Here we go. So let's try, it should say 1 pull. It's ready to start already. We got our deck set on 2 inches. So let's go ahead and give that a go. Ooh. Ooh, killed it. Okay, so this grass right here it's actually wet. It's holding quite a bit of moisture, if you can see from that. So that kind of wasn't a fair test. 190 cc's, 8.75 foot-pounds of torque was not enough for 2 feet of Bahia grass with a not very thick base, but it is a very thatched base. So that's asking a lot on a 190 cc engine, as you can see. But it did pretty good. It cut about maybe a 4 or 5 foot swath, and then you can see where the engine kind of stalled out right here. So ideally, you would never do that in something that's 2 feet tall. You would raise this up at least to 4 inches, and then you would try to run over it, but you wouldn't put it through the stress of that right out the block. So that's not the engine's fault at all. It's just bad operator handling in that case right there. But I'm gonna start it up, and I'm pretty sure we'll get through this and it'll get us up on our first pass. So let's do that. Right, let's get out of the thick. On another note, it did a really good job at shredding that. As you can see, it is finally shredded. Like it did not bog down and become inefficient at cutting, even though this grass is really wet and long. It did a really good job still at mulching up what was there. It's just when it got to the end, it was too slow from what it had already dealt with here, so it died. Wow, look at how big look at this beetle. On another note, is that right here? Yep, it's right there. That beetle. You better move, beetle. You're gonna get run over. Wow, look at you go. All right, so let's go ahead and pull it back, and hopefully we got it. Let's see what it looks like underneath there, having just taken that big hit. Okay, we got grass in the corner here. Oh, it's a twin blade. I did not know that. It's an X blade. Wow, that's cool. I've never owned an X blade. Look at that. An X blade. Wow. Awesome. The blades are sharpened to a fine point. They're not like razor sharp. Like obviously I'm not cutting myself going across it, but it is sharp. It is come to a sharp point, and I'm not here to judge the blade sharpness. It's probably what helped me get through that is the fact that it had the twin blade on the bottom. One pull and we're right back to it. kind of don't like the way it sounds when it shuts off. Sounds a bit like a squeaky engine, but otherwise, other than that, I'm loving the cutting power and the precision of the blades. X blades, by the way. Watch this start. Effortless. I died on the hill. Chose a hill to die on. Starts right back up. Echo does a really great job, and you can also see the how neat it leaves the lines in between, the 21-inch spacings in between the lines. So imagine if you're bagging, how clean your lawn is gonna look using this LM2119 by Echo. And please remember to comment what you think the name of my mower should be. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna replace this sticker with the actual name of my mower. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So it's not just LM2119. More personal. And this will be the first time I actually personally named a mower. I just feel like with that one being such a robotic name, but it's doing such an amazing job that it needs a personal name. Like a Mustang 5.0, you'd give a Shelby Mustang a personal name for the great job it's done and is doing. I like it overall. One thing I would say in a footnote is right now the transmission is very stiff. So when you're pulling the mower back, and you can have the drive gear all the way up, so like it should not be going anywhere. The mower, the back wheels are at a dead stop, and I'll show you that in there. And I thought maybe I was just raising up on it too high, like pulling it up too high so they couldn't get traction. But even when I purposely made sure the weight of the mower was on the ground when I pulled it back, it was still, the wheels were kind of just dragging across the top of the ground without rolling. So hopefully that loosens up. Hopefully that's not a problem with the mower. But yeah, this mower is an absolute beast of a mower. 190 cc's, cut through all of this grass that I had with no problem, and it's not so big that it doesn't look efficient, and so it left a really efficient and even cut all the way across the lawn, which is great. Next, we're going to set it up in the bagging configuration, put it on the highest setting, which is at 4 inches or setting 7. We're going to mow that over best we can without killing the mower, and then after we've mowed it down at 4 inches, then we're going to go ahead and try to bag it at the same level as this is. So we might have to make 2 passes, maybe 4 inches, 3 inches, and then at 2 inches, and we'll see how that goes. And actually, it may have died if I think about it. This may be lower than 2 inches. This is setting 2, which may very well be 1 3/4 inches, which is a quarter shy, but I have to look at the manual to see what the actual settings are. But in my mind, I just automatically assumed, for whatever reason, that setting 2 was 2 inches, which is what I normally cut my grass at. But I think that it's probably a little bit lower. But we're going to go ahead and find out. Well, I know 4 inches would be 7, so we're going to set the deck to 7, and we're going to mow that down as much as it'll let us without totally killing the mower, and then we'll bag it up. And I think that to be fair, we probably should not try to mulch it, because that means we're giving the deck full responsibility of all of that, like simultaneously, and that's not a very long patch, so it's not going to have a lot of cycle time to clear that out before we come by it again. So I almost feel like we should side eject that much and see what the side ejection looks like at 4 inches on a 2-foot stack of grass. Let's do that. All right, here we go. We are going to raise the mower up to the 7th position, which maxes it out at 4 inches in height. So again, loving the one-hand adjustment lever. It's now at 4 inches in height, which, as you can see, is not a whole lot, but we got it up there. We're gonna go ahead and put it in side ejection port mode. So we're gonna get our side ejection insert, put it there, and we're gonna try to move this hill down. All right, here we go. To put this on, this bar goes all the way across, and all you're gonna do is line it up with these, like so. Hold that up there, and then I see it's on, and that's it. So now you're in side ejection mode. Also note, to ensure that you're in complete side ejection mode, you want to make sure that you don't lose this plug right here. You want this plug to be absolutely seated in here, so that none of your clippings eject out the back, and they should be being moved efficiently right here. So that's how we will do that. So now we're gonna go down here and make a run at this right here. Let's see where we are. Can we see the hill? Okay, we're gonna move over a little bit more. We're gonna move over to there, and we're gonna side eject, and we're gonna see what that looks like, how far it throws it. It looks like that side ejection port is angled down a lot, and then you got those two grooves, and if you look at them, I think that's exactly what they're meant to do. I think they're exactly meant to, you can't see it from here, but they're exactly meant to shoot the clippings down. So we probably won't see a lot of upward and we won't see a lot of upward side ejection on this, because I can see the way that's designed. It's not designed like any other mower where it just shoots kind of straight out wherever it goes. I see this directing those clippings down like as fast as possible, and it's more than likely in an attempt to keep down like dust and air pollutants and things like that, to throw it straight into the ground. So really cool. Let's see how that works and how it looks. It didn't start on the first pull. Out of gas. Not out of gas, but we did not start on the first pull. Ooh. I like that. That mower did not start on the first, second, third, or fourth pull, and it's raised up to 4 inches. Yeah, it just doesn't seem to want to start, which is actually very disappointing considering that it's ready to start. So no choke, and then I think it's supposed to start on a single pull, and it's not starting on a single pull. And so it's a little bit concerning because we hadn't even cut maybe a quarter of an acre. It's supposed to be rated for 1 acre, and we're already stalling out. So that's very, very, very disappointing. I'm gonna try to start it again.
Maybe you need to take a break. When the last time you drank some water? Hey, come here and cut this thing.
Maybe I need to take a break.
Yeah.
That's the sign. That's why it's doing that.
No. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see it.
Okay, I've taken a water break, and here I am, standing over this mower that I have extreme hope for, high hopes for. Done a really nice job cutting my lawn. Now it sits in the shade and it refuses to start. I was really impressed with the, I guess it's called ready start. Yeah, ready start. No prime, no choke. Okay, so it doesn't mean it's going to start on one pull, but I thought that I saw something in the instructions that said starts on a pull. I'm starting to feel very cynical, and I've gone through. The carburetor's still clean, the filter's still clean, got plenty of fuel left. This is new fuel. It ran earlier, so I'm sure it has plenty of spark. and it was obviously getting fuel earlier. Everything about this mower is clean out of the box as of maybe an hour or two ago, and now I cannot get it to start. It will not start, which is super disappointing. So I'm going to try to start it again. Hopefully this time it'll start. We got the throttle in all the way. has a little screech about it when you go to release the throttle and shut it off. It's like a little screech at the very end. It's a little nerve-wracking, though it may not be a problem. But yeah, done a really good job on this 2-foot tall patch of weed grass here. And as you can see, this is 4 inches. I'll put it in here. You're in 4 inches of grass. So raising it up, this is the top of 4 inches. So what we're gonna do is gonna ask the mower to bag, to cut at a 2, so half of this, and bag everything that we cut down from that 2-foot stack. So all of that in there, we're asking it to bag it up clean at 2 inches. 190 cc, 8.75 foot-pounds of torque, and we're gonna see if it can do it. This grass is, I don't think that this is wet. No, it's not super wet like what we grabbed earlier. It has some moisture in it, you can see. So I guess it is kind of wet. It's kind of wet. So yeah, we're really asking it to do a lot to go through this. So, but look what it did. It did pretty good. But this would be a good, tough ask. The LM 2119 SP at 190 cc's. It really has done a great job. Gonna go ahead and get set up into bag configuration. So what it means, coming down here, and we're gonna take our plug out. Just gonna go ahead and kind of push some of the grass out of the deck. Put our bag on. Grab the handle. And the bag goes slot here. There's a slot here. In this little V pocket and this V pocket. So you take that, and there's no pockets on the bottom. It's just gonna rest against this lip down here, the bottom of the bag. So we can go here and here. And that is the bag fully seated. And as you can see, it is resting. Actually, it's not resting on that bottom. It's resting right at the end of the chute. And then that goes around the bag, around this ledge, and this goes inside of the bag. Actually, this little lip right here fits inside of the bag, so you probably won't have very little dust escaping. I'm also noticing on this bag, it's kind of like microfiber, and it also has a lining on the inside of it. So even if this was a dusty environment, I'm thinking this is going to keep down a lot of bag dust. So if you have allergens and things like that, allergies, this is probably looking out kind of like a HEPA filter for your lawnmower. The bottom of it has a plastic base to it to be able to hold the grass and the moisture and kind of wick it down and away from the bag. So really good design by Echo on that part. And again, this ergonomic, really sturdy handle for pulling your bag out straight up and out. I like that. Easy to sit back in. There's nothing to miss. The top is so big you can't miss, but the bottom is defined so that the bag is locked into a definite position, which closes right into, or the hatch closes right into the bag to reduce the dust and clippings from escaping. But yeah, we're setting this up in bagging. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the side ejection, which all you do to remove it is just lift it up and it comes off of those these rails right here. I'm just gonna clean around the deck a little bit I want this to be as efficient process as possible. And you're looking at the grass and just making sure that there's no lingering clippings. Give this the best chance to be successful. All right, so we got that out of the way. Here it is. We're putting these off to the side, which is the kind of annoying part about having a 3-in-1 mower that's not like deeply integrated the way that the Toro recycler is integrated. Maybe they'll get there with this setup, but for now that's what we're working with. All right, so after being unable to find any height adjustment specifications, I'm going to go ahead and set this to the 2 position with the lever, which is what I cut the rest of the grass at. And I'm just going to see how well it does at picking up the grass starting from 4 inches basically, but it's going to have to pick up a high volume of grass. So maybe I'll push it over slow just to see how well all that happens. So here we go. So down to 2 position. Again, I love how easy that is. Actually, that is the 3 position. That's 2 position. All right, 2 position. I'm going to go ahead and fire it up. We're in bagging configuration. And we're just going to go ahead and fire it up and see how well we pick up this grass. Back it off of it. it just kept throwing it in there. I am thoroughly impressed with this mower and its ability to pick up wet grass of all things. Look at that. Really clean those weeds up. Weed/grass mixture. Cleaned it up really nicely under pressure of high moisture content in the grass itself, and it did not leave behind much of anything as far as grass clippings or clots or anything. It pretty much picked it all up. Even the low spots it kind of picked up. The bag was kind of full on this part. You can see that line kind of left a line, but that's kind of asking for a lot. That's a high standard for a mower set at 2 inches to just reach down and basically vacuum that up, essentially, is what you're asking the blade system to do, and the power of the mower. But I'm thoroughly impressed with that. The condition that looks like, that's what it looked like underneath all of that mess to start with. This is just a compost pile, so nothing over here was neatly kept. And but it done an amazing job. Just kept throwing that grass into the bag consistently without dropping any on the ground. Look at that. That bag is almost completely full. And now we're gonna do the dismount test on the bag and take you up and turn it down. See how easy it is to disengage this bag. I'm gonna do it with my left hand just so you can see. Actually, I'm not even gonna move the handle. Actually, you have to move the handle. All right, so actually the bag is only half full. And that half full bag doesn't have any stress on the handle. The handle gives it a nice feel. Could you imagine holding 2 pieces of steel between your fingers with about 40 pounds of grass in your hand, if not more? I'm pretty sure if this grass wasn't wet, it probably would have thrown about 10 more pounds of grass in here. But as it stands, it's probably 5 or 6 pounds right there. Got some more just down in the deck. And the bottom of the deck, other side of the deck, for the most part, is clean to my feel. There's a little bit of mud in there. But other than that, I think it did an amazing job cleaning that out. I'll bring you down to see what the underside of the mower looks like. So you can see as we come down to the yard, that's kind of what it left after shutting it off that it couldn't throw into the bag, because we had a clog up in the back. And again, with the high water content that's in this grass, I mean, that's an amazing job. Look at that water. So when you can make a grass cud ball, I guess you can call it, that sticks together like that, then the mower, if it picks that up, half a bag, which is like 3 bushels, I think it said. This bag can hold 3 bushels. Picked up 3 bushels of wet grass with no problem. And this is what the underside of the deck looks like. So it was very efficient at throwing that grass into the bag and not slamming it up and against the underside of the mower. This was wet grass, and this mower, it almost looks flawless underneath. So we're gonna do the washout cycle next. Positive takeaways: this is a solid mower. It has plenty of power. It's very fuel efficient. As you can see, I probably have 3/4 of a tank of gas left, and I do. I don't know if you can see that. 3/4 of a tank. I've been running it for probably an hour total run time. I cut this whole yard. I'm gonna weed eat that part, so don't look at that, but I cut behind it. cut all of that, cut all of that, cut all of this, and this was a real challenge. But it did not seem to strain and consume more fuel because of the hard work it was doing. It just kind of did the work, which is really amazing. So high praise on the fuel efficiency for 190cc mower. I probably cut half an acre, or if not 3/4 of an acre here. Maybe half an acre, because some of it is not, it's not able to be cut because it's a garden. So high praise on the performance, the engine performance on the pull start. Other than that hiccup I had after I had cut this lawn, where it wouldn't start, like it was hot or wasn't getting fuel or whatever the case may have been, after that settled in, it started right up on one pull again. So hopefully as the engine breaks in, it'll just get consistent with the one pulls. When I took it out of the box the first time, it started on one pull. So I'm kind of expecting that that's how it will be. I'm really impressed with the bagging capabilities. It basically filled half the bag with what I had here. So about, I would say maybe 5 square feet of, maybe 3 square feet. No, 5 square feet, yeah, feet, not yards, of grass right here that was about 2 feet tall, and it filled up half the bag. And I think that it got clogged because there was nothing else, no more intake, so nothing else was being thrown through, and it wasn't going to blow the remaining grass through. So that's why we got the half a bag and then the clog in the chute part. But it didn't bog down when it clogged. It just simply couldn't grab it to throw it into the bag. So all in all, this mower has been very impressive on its first day out. Again, I'm looking to give it a name, and I will brand it with the name here and potentially here, and it'll just be my little customization to the mower. I really like, if it were going off looks, I like the way the mower looks. I like the way that the finishing touches it has on it. I love those semi-metal latches right there. I love how substantial that is. Love how easy it folds over. I just learned that it was vertical store, which is why I have the suitcase handle on the front, and the easy fold down kind of told me that. Now I'm gonna use the washout port and just see how efficient that whole thing is. So I'll be back. All right, here we go. We are back. We're gonna go ahead and get this hooked up and put this down, hook this up real quick, and get the mower bottom deck cleaned out. Okay, so got that hooked up, and again I'm going to show you the deck before we clean it. So it's not bad already. There's no, okay, there's not a lot of clung on mud under here already. I just want to see how well this cleans up. There's a little bit on this back and there's a little bit here, but I mainly just want to see how well it cleans on its own, or not on its own, with the washout coming through. And I should have to blow that out. It's gonna come in right over here, and I'm gonna turn the blades on to kind of throw it up against the top of the deck. Okay, I'm ready. that turned on?
Yeah, it just turned on. Or I just hit start. Hold on, it's reconnected with Bluetooth.
Okay. Okay. All right, so that was our little test, and you can see that's how it comes out. You turn the blades on, and it didn't really do a good job at cleaning even with the blades on, so I'm not quite sure how that's supposed to go. But there's the water coming in, and with the blades on, it didn't do, I mean, I guess it's supposed to just wet the underside of the deck for you to clean the rest of it off, and I think that's fine, but I don't know if you can see that. Probably not. Let's see if you can see this. So it just like kind of re-wets the deck, and then I guess you have to come in and clean underneath where it has wetted up, but not super efficient, but I don't mind it. It's not that. I thought that it'd be a lot better, a lot more of a intense cleaning, but it's really not. It's just kind of like wetting the underside, so that's fine. Yep, that's all I got for today.